So this is basically Macbeth. So, there were these 3 witches. Yep, definitely witches. Anyway, they gathered together to do some shady biz on the moors and talk about this dude Macbeth, who's apparently supposed to be important. After inspiring every interpretation of witches for the next century, they leave, and we hear more about this dude they've been talking about, Macbeth. King Duncan has some other random characters because, even the kids who can't act need a part. Talk about Macbeth and his bromance buddy Banquo fighting some enemies and getting super violent about it. I mean, seriously, Macbeth is so caught up in his killing spree that his sword smokes with bloody execution. I don't know about you, but that definitely sounds like a guy who deserves a promotion. Banquo and Macbeth meet the Weird Sisters, who tell Macbeth that he's destined to become king and get a company car and a helicopter, although probably not the last 2. Banquo is told a bunch of cryptid phrases that basically mean his kids will be more successful than him. Macbeth is a bit uncertain about his prophecy though, because as much as he wants that company car, he's still a decent person at this point in the play, and killing the current king would be, bad. Macbeth writes to his wife Lady Macbeth about the prophecies, who immediately begins to plot how to convince her husband to murder King Duncan and take the throne, since he's not a psychopath at this point. Naturally, she takes the most obvious and logical route to stir up her husband's ambition by summoning evil spirits to make herself less of a woman. Clearly, this is the most genius murder plot ever conceived. Lady Macbeth manages to convince her husband to kill Duncan, but not before a bit of a domestic and Macbeth hallucinating daggers in the air. Yeah, he should probably see someone about that. Anyway, Macbeth kills Duncan and feels super guilty about it, having a meltdown about the fact that there's blood in his hands, like he didn't expect that to happen when he freaking stabbed someone. Seriously, what was he expecting to come out of the body? Flowers? Lady Macbeth luckily knows how the human body works, and so isn't concerned about the blood, but more so the fact that her husband isn't washing it off, even though he just committed a crime. Must be those dark spirits giving her all that common sense and complete lack of compassion for human life. The next day, Duncan's body is discovered, and in their best effort not to look guilty, his sons flee the country. Since Macbeth is a pretty rad dude, he is made king. Yay! Dreams come true, everyone is happy, Macbeth has achieved his life goal. Surely nothing bad could happen from this point. Right? Right, Will? Oh dear. Since Banquo was predicted to have kids who would be kings, this makes Macbeth paranoid that Banquo's son will overthrow him. In order to put his mind at rest, he takes what seems to be everyone's solution to their problems in this play and tries to have Banquo and his son killed. Banquo dies, but his son Fleance escapes, leaving Banquo to pull a Christmas carol and haunt Macbeth at a banquet. Since Macbeth is becoming more and more of a human piece of garbage and is growing more and more paranoid, he visits the witches in order to try and get some more information about his so-called prophecy. The witches tell him a few more bits of info, like trees are spoopy, stay away from anyone who's a sin against nature, and that guy Macduff is bad news. Third time's a charm, Macbeth employs the never-fail strategy of stabbing your problems to try and make them go away, and kills Macduff's family. Yay, murder of innocent people! Extra points to Macduff's son for the most underwhelming reaction to being killed ever. Of course, when Macduff finds out that Macbeth has murdered his entire family, he's pretty upset. So him and his old pal Prince Malcolm raise an army in England and go to take down Macbeth. Meanwhile, I guess all those satanic rituals and, guilt over murdering people, has caught up with Lady Macbeth because she begins fitfully sleepwalking and desperately trying to wash her hands free of imaginary blood. Before Macduff and his swanky army arrive at the castle, Lady Macbeth kills herself, and this causes Macbeth to become super depressed before the battle ensues. The army comes up with the genius strategy of holding twigs and walking up the hill to begin their attack, and Macduff seeks out Macbeth to kill him. Macduff chooses this moment to tell Macbeth about his freaky birth, technically fulfilling the witch's prophecy, because apparently prophecies come with 5 paragraphs of fine print now, and this means he's able to kill Macbeth. Malcolm is crowned king and everyone is super happy until the next time Shakespeare decides there's not enough death in the world. The end!